Hey folks, this is Best in Slot. Welcome back to our Planet Zoo Southeast Asian zoo build, and our zoo officially has a name, and I am going to butcher this. I'm so sorry. It's in Malay. It's Negeri di Bawah Bayu, and it means the land below the wind. This is like an official nickname for a Malaysian state in the northern part of the island of Borneo, so it's a proper place name and stuff like that. I just thought it was beautiful, the land below the wind. It's really nice, it's very evocative of the kind of thing I want to create here. Today we're not building natural habitat, we're kind of leading into the habitat. It was already about 3 hours worth of work in this video, so I didn't want to do more work, basically. And what we're going to build to kick things off is a cave entrance. And that cave entrance is going to look like a Smilodon, okay? So the reasoning behind this is I really wanted to do an underground, well, under cave, I guess, a cave forest, like a rainforest within the cave, and with like shafts of light coming down from the sky and stuff like that, and it's all overgrown. I thought that sounded really cool, and it sounded like a lot of fun for our snow leopard, and like a really good environment for the snow leopard. Snow leopard? Clouded leopard. And they do live in caves sometimes, or they at least retreat to caves, and I figured if it's very foresty, that would make a lot of sense. So I couldn't just have a cave, obviously. We had to have something cool, and because the boat's going to go through this, I really wanted this kind of dramatic horror film-esque entrance wherein you take the boat through a skull into, like, through a kind of like a Skull Island and stuff like that. You take the boat through a skull into the wider cave. I just thought it was a cool idea. I'm using a Smilodon because the Clouded Leopard has, like, I don't know if it's the biggest, but it's definitely up there. The way it can sort of the way it can detach its jaw and spread its mouth is super impressive and very reminiscent of a Smilodon. And I thought it would be cool to make a Smilodon cave, basically. It took about an hour to an hour and a half just to build the cave entrance. It was a lot of hard work. My main mistake was trying to build it in position, so the rotation went off. So what you'll see, and I'll just explain this now, is that the left-hand side, I think, looks really good. I was really proud of it. The right-hand side is a goddamn disaster. The right-hand side didn't work out at all. I did try, but because I couldn't rotate, it was just a mess. So we ignore the right-hand side and we focus on the left, okay? That's the deal we're making here. But for the first part of this video, you're going to see me make a Smilodon Skull out of rocks, basically. Then we're going to go back for the rest of the video. Well, actually, we're going to finish the rest of the cave as well, ish bits. And then we're going to go back to the park entrance. I actually spent like an hour this morning just working on the zoo entrance itself. I realised I wanted the zoo to feel just a little bit more like an actual zoo. It kind of felt like you were going through the jungle and you were going to die, which I'm fine with as an atmosphere, but it is still meant to be a real zoo. So I went back and I redid the entrance and made it much more official. I've made a bunch of signs in Photoshop. I kind of came up with I'm going to sound a little pretentious here, but I basically invented a design language that I wanted to have resonate throughout the entire zoo, and also a colour scheme, again, that we're going to follow for the entire zoo. We'll talk about that later on. I think the signs are really good. I'm like really proud of how they turned out. I think they're awesome. I'll explain those later on in the video. But that's what we're doing today. We're building a cave entrance, and then we're doing some work on the entrance. The zoo entrance and the cave entrance. And then next video, we'll build the actual Clouded Leopard habitat. Now, I did try to make this physiologically correct. I had an image of a Smilodon Skull up on my other screen. I was following it along, basically, and trying to bend the Planet Zoo rocks into the correct position. It's not that easy. I'm not gonna lie, it's not that easy. And it was one of those projects when I got to probably about this point, I started to think, what am I doing? Like, what have I got myself into here? Why am I doing this? But I think it turned out pretty cool. It definitely has the right kind of vibe that I'm looking for. So it's kind of hard to narrate what I'm doing here. I'm just sticking rocks together to make a skull. I don't know what to add to that. There's like a ridging around the eye that kind of leads down to the base of the skull and then further forward towards the nasal ridge, and also the area where the fangs kind of prop out. I just really liked the idea of driving the boat between two pairs of giant fangs either side. I just thought it was a cool idea. So that there's the eye ridge, basically. That sort of curved bit at the back is where the eye is going to be. Again, I keep going back to sort of the default position because that's where the photo was, and I tried to match it as close as possible. It's definitely not 100% accurate. This is where this starts to go wrong. It's definitely not 100% accurate, don't get me wrong, but I think you can... It kind of looks like a snake, just because the rest of the cave looks like a snake. Hopefully I can get rid of that and it'll look less like a snake. But I had fun with this. To an extent. I'm not sure if I had fun or not, but it was nice to do something a little bit crazy. You know, it always is. Especially now that we are going more in a zoo-y direction. I'm really excited to show you my signs. I'm really excited about those. I think they're really cool. Yeah, we're going to do a lot of stuff like that, mess around with billboards. I really want to experiment with this zoo and try new things out. I do want it to feel like a zoo-ish. We're going to add a fence later on onto the sun bear habitat. The sun bears were able to escape. I can fix that. There's the eye socket, by the way. I fixed things like that before. It wasn't necessarily a big deal, but just having them able to swim up to the boat was maybe not the most realistic thing on the planet. So, what I really want to try to do with this zoo is kind of like what we did with the aquatic zoo, more than the Australian zoo, where I mesh my slightly more eccentric sensibilities, you know, like Smilodon caves, with an actual zoo build. That's the kind of vibe I'm trying to get. Remember, no realism, just vibes. But a little realism. A little realism. And I promise I will eventually make a t-shirt with no realism, just vibes on it. Anyways, just kind of marking out the shape of the skull. That's like where the rest of the teeth on the upper jaw are. We're not building the lower jaw because you wouldn't see the bloody thing anyway. So that's the upper jaw there, and we'll do a little colour variation on this later on. I think we make it like a darker brown so it looks more like stained bone. And then of course we're going to have a torch in the eye socket, you know, flaming, firing torch, make it nice and dramatic, of course. It'd be silly not to. It just doesn't work. Don't look at the right hand side, it's bad. I kept trying to fix it, and then I got to this point where I just thought, you know what, never mind. Like, just pretend the right side has had a cave in, we focus on the left. Which I think is pretty cool still. It does look a bit like a snake. Also kind of looks like the fangs are coming from the nose, but that is similar to what, you know, it looks like. The ridge that contains the fangs, when you look at an actual skull of the Smilodon, the ridge goes really far back, and it's fairly prominent, you know? Now, when you look at the actual creature, you don't see that ridging, you just see the flesh and muscle around it, but when it comes to just the skull, it does look like the ridging for the fangs start really far back in the head. Well, because they do. But I can see how it looks like a snake. I don't really have much to talk about. I don't know what to say for this bit. Yeah, so next... Okay, we'll talk about the future a little bit. So next habitat is going to be the Clouded Leopard. It's then going to be the Gharial, which is a weird choice because at the end of the day it's not new, but I've got a really nice idea for the Gharial that I really want to do. I think it's a nice idea. I'm going to think about it. So Clouded Leopard, then Gharial probably, and then we're going to the Binturong because I've got an idea for that. And after that we're going pretty freeform. I did have an idea for the Proboscis Monkey, which we were going to do part of the River Tour, but I kind of want to move away from the River Tour. I don't want to do too many of the exhibits with the River Tour. Just because I feel a little bit more limited in my design space, and I dislike that. But we will be having 3 animals as part of the tour. You're going to go through the cave, you're going to see the Clouded Leopard, then you're going to see the Gharial, and then you're going to exit the cave and exit the boat tour. That's the idea right now. And of course I realised I did all that work at the back, but you need to be able to take the bloody boat through, so that was utterly pointless. Here I was just trying to figure out which parts of the rock had not quite made it into the build, as you can see. I think that's all of them now, lovely stuff. Just trying to pick a decent colour, I think. That's the one I go for. I don't know where I'm going with this. You know, you want it to be dark, spooky, and darkening the eye sockets as well, just to kind of resemble shadow, basically. And also on the skull that I looked at, I keep wanting to call them tusks, because they do look like tusks, but the fang area was darker than the rest, basically. Just a little nod to that. I plan for you to experience this part of the park at night time anyway, so you're not really going to see too much of the detail. I wouldn't say it's a big deal. So you're going to go in, you're going to curve around like a really, really tight cave, and this is where it starts looking like a snake. But the idea is you're going to go through and the walls are super close and it's a little claustrophobic, a little spooky. I'll put some signs on the walls to de-spookify it. Maybe I won't. And then it's going to open up a little bit on maybe on both sides. On one or both sides, and there's going to be like this underground rainforest. Well, undercave rainforest. Which is mainly dark, except these sort of shafts of moonlight coming in. Kind of like what we did with the caimans in the aquatic pack. It's going to have a similar sort of vibe to that, but much more overgrown, much more plant-based. I think we'll try to do some like pathways between the two sides as well, so the leopards can like literally claw their way above your head as you're going underneath. Here I'm just laying out the cave. Sorry, I have an itchy arm. Just staggering the rocks together. This looks like a mess, and it does look like a snake. It needs detail work, but I find that when you're doing stuff like this, you know, tedious stuff, basically. Oh, here. This was clever. I went and got the height of the boat basically by putting a rock on it and then moving it across. It's better to get the basic shape in and add the detail later. Like, it's not going to look like this when I'm done because it kind of looks silly. But all we have to do after this is chuck a few extra rocks in and kind of bend them together and angle them and create a bit of detail in tree, put a few plants in there, stuff like that. And what it looks like on the outside doesn't actually matter because you'll never see it, but from the inside I can't have it look like that, you know? And there's my snake. Smilodon snake. Snakeodon. Snake. Smilake. Snailodon. Many options. Snailodon sounds terrifying. Another reason I want to move away from the river tour is this. It's getting really, really boring and really annoying trying to make the banks of this river look interesting. Without a foliage brush, which I know I've been spoiled by, but it is what it is. It's really tedious because there's so much space to cover, and I can't have like wide open space because at the end of the day this is meant to be a dark, overcrowded rainforest. That's very much the vibe we're going for. So I have to keep duplicating trees and putting more trees in, and then that looks okay, but the problem is when you're actually going down there, you kind of see that there's a lack of detail. It doesn't look natural because all it is trees and, you know, big bushy areas, which are in essence just trees. So I can have to go through again and put down loads of extra foliage and rocks and ruin pieces and stuff like that. And it just isn't enjoyable. I've got to be honest, it isn't a fun process, and I'm a little bit bored of it. So I don't have to do it anymore. You're going to go through the cave, you're going to emerge out on the other side, and it's not going to be rainforest anymore. It's going to be the binturong habitat, which I think I talked about in the past, but I won't mention again, just no spoilies, you know. So here we're just, you know, like I say, just trying to make... I want you to feel, it's a little depressing, but like the trees are like a noose, you know, when they're kind of like tightening around you. That's why you'll notice as well, or maybe at least, the river is substantially thinner here than is outside of the sun bear habitat, and that was very much an on-purpose choice, because I wanted to feel like the rainforest was clawing its way closer and closer into you, kind of suffocating you before you enter the cave. Because that's the kind of thing I like. This is a direct reference to, remember I was writing that dinosaur book a while ago. It is still in production, by the way, I should mention. But it's, you know, it's slow going these days at the moment. I need to get back to it. But there is literally a line about how the forest is a noose and, you know, kind of vibes. So kind of thought we'd go for it. A lot of this was inspired by that. There's the scene where they go through the forest on a boat. Very exciting stuff, and to be fair, they do see some dinosaurs, so yeah. Save, very exciting. There's my sign. I've actually replaced that sign. That's not what they look like anymore. What am I doing over here? No idea. Yeah, so just ruin work and little bits of detail. Chuck it in some of the default Planet Zoo stuff just so it's quicker. You don't really see it. It's not really going to be a focus. Okay, you see that one, admittedly, but it's never really going to be the focus. I'm just trying to get... just so the banks aren't totally boring. You know, there's going to be times in this section where there's no bears to look at, there's nothing to look at other than the banks of the river, so whilst it isn't super important, I'd like them to not be super duper boring, basically. So if I can just chuck a few rocks in to make them a little bit more interesting to look at, and a few ruin pieces to make them more interesting to look at, then it may as well do just that. But it's tedious work. It's that kind of inane little detailing that I don't enjoy. Usually, like, little details are really fun, but when it's not even for a habitat, it's just a bit... That's not the game's fault. That's my fault for building a bloody rainforest. I'd like to build, like, a pattern that I can just place down easier. It's a consideration for the future. Of course, there's a fig tree growing out of it, because there has to be a fig tree growing out of literally bloody everything. And there's a topsy-turvy tree over there, because I wanted to cover as much of the sidelines in the sky as possible. Now, it's never going to be completely dark, but the darker it is... We're going to have some lights in here. Itchy, 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 itchy. Sorry. The darker it is, the better it will look. I had this idea, and I couldn't make it work, but when you're like in a dark cave... I guess this would be the opposite. Oh my god, my arm. What the hell? There we go. Fiery torch. But I had this idea where, you know, if you're in a dark cave... and you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's super bright. You can't make out any details, just like this beam of bright light. I kind of liked the idea of doing like a reverse of that, so the cave itself would be emitting this light. It isn't going to happen. I think for the exit of the cave, though, we might try to do something like that, where you just see this sort of hazy colour, this burst of hazy light in the distance, and that's like, you know, freedom and escape, and then you emerge out into what is going to be, hopefully, with the binturong, a fairly beautiful habitat. It is meant to be pretty more than anything else. Don't know what the hell I was doing here, though. I tried again with the area light. It just wasn't meant to be, you know? I mean, that kind of works. That's kind of what I wanted, but it's not going to be a thing. However, it looks very cool with the torch. Very, ooh, spooky. Now we need some mist. Of course we do. Went a little hard initially, but again, these have been staggered a little bit, so the majority of the fog, the majority of the mist, which I wish was fog. I'd love slightly more like higher ground clearance and proper fogging up your view entirely. That would be very cool. But majority of it is by the skull, and it kind of gets weaker the further away from the skull you get. Just to again emphasize that you're entering this forgotten, ancient, terrifying place. You know, that's the idea. It's such a vibe. I don't know why I've become obsessed with the word vibe. I'm like 10 years behind everyone else. Such a boomer, honestly. So yeah, this video's in two parts. I actually processed this time-lapse first. So at about 18 minutes, 17:48, so in about 30 seconds, this part will stop. I'm going to shove over to the new time-lapse I did this morning. And that's going to be the sign stuff. I'm going to try to start splitting these builds in half, at least for my own sanity's sake. Sometimes it's easy to sit down and work for 4 hours, but sometimes you need to mix things up a little bit. And this is really just me taking screenshots and trying to show off a little bit. I think it looks really cool though. I really do. It's very, it looks like, again, I do think it looks a little like a snake, but it definitely has that vibe that we were looking for. The theming is on point. I'm just going to chuck out all the words I like. Right, I mean, look at it. You'll see it in game, of course, at the end, but, wait, how are we doing? What are we doing here? Oh, we do. We'll end it there. Right, so that is that part done. We will now go check out the second part. So first thing I wanted to do, like, blah, 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 blah. So first thing I wanted to do, there's good word speaks, is, like I said, I wanted to block the bears in. I wanted to do it subtly. I didn't want it to be totally over the top noticeable, so a little fence, a little wooden fence plodding along is what I did at the time. Now, I've since redesigned the entrance of the park and kind of, I'd say, strengthened the theming really heavily, and this fence no longer fits into that theme, so we are going to change the fence, but I just wanted to make sure it would work and it would keep the bears in, you know? And it does, albeit it took some time, because the ground is not totally even. It needs to keep getting redone over and over again, but just by shoveling rocks around and flattening the ground every now and again, I did manage to contain the bears. And they've still got water, they've still got tons of room. You know, they're not going to swim into the boat, which would be dangerous for the bears as well. There's our new sign. Ooh, cheeky. I also considered getting rid of the rocks, but I kind of like it. It's kind of like entering a new part of the park. Anyways, this is us getting started on the entrance. So there's my new sign, Nagari di Bawa Bayou, the land below. I love that logo. I'm so proud of that logo. You have no idea how happy I am with the design on that. It takes me back. Photoshop is my thing. I've been using Photoshop for literally 20 years now, or something ridiculous. Most of my life I've been using Photoshop. And the addition of billboards kind of lets me flex a little bit. You know, this is one of my very few skills in life, is graphic design and photo manipulation and stuff like that. So being able to flex that and showcase that a little bit and make tons of different signs, and never mind signs, but things will integrate into exhibits and stuff like that, is actually really exciting. I'm super excited. It's a big deal for me. It really is. I didn't really realize till I started talking about it, but I'm very excited. I mean, look at that thing. It's beautiful. It wasn't even difficult. Anyone could have made it, but I love it. So that's going to be the theme you can see right there. So I've got like this watercolor sort of paint splat. That's going to be part of it. In these sort of foresty colours. There's a really beautiful array of colours. The clashing between the two fonts, the kind of handwritten for the main title and then the much more standard sans serif below it. The sort of faded forest behind it. And also the holding box. We're going to use all those different features across several different signs and stuff like that. They should be consistent across the entire zoo, basically, those same elements. Same with the colours. We're going to do a lot of work here in a minute. Kind of just building like an entrance display sign kind of thing, but we're going to put down a lot of the East Asian fences and display stuff like that. And it's all in red at the moment, and I've only really just thought about it as I started this video, but I want to change the colour of it just so it fits a little bit better with the sign. So we're going to use yellows and greens predominantly. There's a little splash of red in there, and we're going to keep it there and say like the bear habitat. But predominantly it's going to be yellows and greens in various tones, is the idea. Anyways, I will say this entrance area, because I was not going to do this. This isn't really what I tend to do, as people know. But my desire to make this look more like a zoo, you know, kind of made me want to do this. Without sacrificing my theming and stuff like that. But also, I will shout out Estan Wolf, who is a very talented Planet Zoo creator. And he posted photos of his entrance. And I really, really liked it. I thought it was great looking. He's doing like this new Lost Creek Zoo, and it's beautiful looking, the entrance. There's nothing else so far, so I can't just rest. But the entrance was really, really nice looking, and it kind of just made me want to go do my own, basically. And so shout out to Estan, definitely go check out his channel. Should shout out people more often. There's so many talented creators out there for Planet Zoo. People blow me away. The fact that you guys watch me blows me away. And I'm not doing that as a slight on myself. I'm really not. It's just it's crazy. I thank you guys, honestly. I do this because of you guys. Right, so there's our oh god, there's our entrance sign. Yes, quite. And just trying a few different things out. That was a disaster. Just trying a few different things out. Just messing with the different tools, different items. Like I said, this is all red, and we are going to change that. I think a little spark of red is okay because there's a little dash of red in the lower left, but most of it is greens and yellows. It looks like a valley. I love that because the thing, I didn't make the thing behind the logo, you know, that kind of splat of paint. I didn't design that myself. I didn't get a watercolor paintbrush and go make it. It is a stock image. But originally it was like blue and purple and stuff like that. So I did a color invert on it, and it just gave me these gorgeous colors and all this like dark orange, dark green tones in the middle, and it looks like a forested valley, sort of, with like a volcanic region and sort of slightly beachier regions. It looks like a real place. I looked out, honestly. Always, if you're trying to make stuff, just experiment a little bit. You know, invert things, flip things. Just little differences in perspective can make a huge difference. Anyways, this is going to be I can do one-way boat tours, right? I think so. I need to get rid of the exit, I just realised. This is going to be a one-way boat tour, so just closing off that area over there. Just to, again, make it feel a little bit more like an actual, just a little bit more like an actual zoo. Not too much. I'm never going to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy. But a little bit. Just a little bit. Just so, I don't know, I'm really happy with it, actually. Doing this stuff made me happier, which I never used to, so I'm kind of happy about that as well. You know, I never used to enjoy this kind of part of the building work. This was never really my shebang, but I had a lot of fun with it today. Fun is fun. I really wish we could decorate the boats, though. That's what I was trying just then. We're not going to do that, stupid. I really wish we could decorate the boats. Like, attach things onto them. I'd love to be able to theme the boat a little bit more about what we're doing. Also, I'm going to put the water wheel there, but I have no idea how the water wheel is meant to work. Like, you're meant to be able to build, like, a fully functioning water wheel. And I could not tell you. Not for an instant could I hope to tell you how to build a functioning water wheel in this game. Like, it's going to spin, and it looks cool, so we're going to keep it. But in terms of having it look like an actual water wheel, not a chance. Absolutely not a chance in hell. Unfortunately. But it looks cool. I might get rid of it. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. But yeah, really here just doing extra design stuff. I want it to feel a little bit busy and, you know, detail orientated. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of colours. Like I said, we're going to come back and change these reds to yellows and oranges and yellows and oranges. And yellows and greens, mainly. I'll also show you in the post. I'm not going to do like the slow time-lapse we did last time because there's not new animals or anything, so I'm just going to quickly show you everything we've done. I've got a new animal sign as well, and I've got a new boat sign that I made as well. I've got 3 different designs at the moment. We've got the logo sign, we've got the animal sign, and we've got the boat tour sign. I'm also going to build a welcome sign-ish. I don't mind the text. I'm not convinced on it the more I look at it, though. All I'm going to do is build a backdrop for that so it's not sitting on stone. I think I'm going to use the sort of dark forest you can see there behind the Nagari. That's going to sit behind the welcome sign. Just because I want to. Basically. Because I want to. Actually, I'll do that before I hop in game and we can do that together, folks. It's going to be a lovely moment. Beautiful, beautiful moment. Anyways, so I've got the finger a little bit. That's going to go up. Boom, boom. No, give it. There it is. Bam. And then that'll split off. And just trying to keep it all a little bit neater and fancier and well made. It should be nearly done. This is a surprisingly long video. I promise when we get in game, it'll be nice and snappy. Snap, 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 snippety snap. Like that. You're going to be like, whoa, Best in Slot. Slow down. I'm like, no, snippety snap. You know? You guys know what I mean. Right then, here we go. Here we are at the zoo entrance. I'll give you a nice zoom in look at the... Again, I am a big fan of what I've done here. Can't help it. I'm going to brag. I don't brag enough. This is pretty top tier work. Yeah, I don't like the welcome sign. I don't think. I think just having this forest backdrop behind it, not lit up though, just darker. And then I'll get rid of the double font thing I've got going on there. I think that'll help. I'm becoming less convinced. The problem I have, I'll show you very quickly, is I can't build a double here. Like, there's none of these that are going to fit. I don't think. Let me check very quickly. So this is the 4 meters. You see, it's not... I could put 2 together, in theory, and that is probably possible. I might do that. I might build, like, a welcome sign out of 2 billboards, which isn't that difficult. All you would do, so these billboards are of the same size. I'll show you this quickly, actually. I think this is interesting. So, well, I think it's interesting. So, we've got a billboard. Let's just attach that. And if we go into... So this is a 4 meter projection screen, which means we need wide medium. Yep. So what I would do is build a 912... Well, no, I wouldn't. I would build a 1824 by 512 welcome sign, right? So that would be 2 of these together, basically. And then all I do is cut it directly down the middle after building the sign. And in theory, when I upload both of those images, I should have the right combination, yeah? So I might do that, because I don't like this welcome sign. We have our boat tour boarding area. Boat tour, board here, and Ayawatan bot, Papan Desini. So, as I did back on the Other Servant, I think it's important, if you're going to build a zoo very heavily themed on a region, and you're going to use that language and take inspiration, that you have little nods to that everywhere else. You know, if this zoo existed for real in where is it again? In okay, it's a region called Sabah. And I think if you were going to build a zoo there, you would have both the English text and the Malay text. I think they actually use a very specific type of Malay called Sabah Malay, but we're just going to use Malay. This is done on Google Images, Google Translate, I should say, so it might not be accurate. I'm also not sure about the... I think I need to even this out a little bit, which I will do. But either way, we're going to do all the signs in both languages, at least little ones like this, because I care. Okay, moving forward. So you hop on the boat. Obviously, we can't do that right now. That's just a nice overview of the entrance area. I might do some stuff on the right, but I don't mind that being forest, really. Anyways, you hop on the boat. You're going forward. Chugga, 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 choo, choo. And there is our sunbear sign. Now, it is a non-lit up sign. I don't like how it looks at night when it's lit up, because I think it's over the top, but there you go. You can see what I've done here. So there's our holding box. Again, it's been cut out a little bit by this thing, but I'll try to fix that. The babies keep escaping. God knows how. So, as my sunbear, cut him out and, you know, made him sort of, he comes out of the boundary box a little bit. And you can see the same 2 fonts that we've been using before. And then sunbear and then the Latin name Helarctus Malayanus. There you go. And a little picture, and then some fake information and a fake little diet bit. Oh my god, hello. I just wanted something that was easily replicable, so all I need to do is change that picture, and the names up here, and it'll look good throughout the entire zoo at various different sizes. Bye-bye! Right, baby, come here. You're in the dark. Babies must live in the light, for they are beautiful. This is Rara. Come on, Rara. That's not bye-bye! Just freeze for a second. Yeah, she's so cute! Definitely a little cartoony, but Planet Zoo does lead that way a little bit, and she's adorable. Well, I can't remember. Run, Rara, run! For glory! Rara, no! Come here! Well, I think I have to wait, basically, for Rara to actually escape. I don't know what I'm going to do about you two. You cheeky little blighters. Actually, I do know what I'm going to do. Boop. You have been defeated, Rara! And fellow bear. The hope is that they appeared over there. I think they did. I think I just won the game. I actually just won the game. Right, that's how we defeat the bears. Right, they're officially contained again. Finally! So he'll take the boat down here. You see what I mean? Like, oh, God, it's just so boring. Ugh. Ugh. It needs stuff. Also, I don't like that. Let's go to that. I'm going to put more stuff there. Ugh. There. Anyway, you're going along, you're having a grand old time. Wait, let's make it nighttime. So around that, what I'd love is like a trigger device that I can use to make it nighttime at my choice. That would be awesome. We're going on, kind of like a Minecraft. Oh, it's the mist. Oh, you just catch the glimmer there as well. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. And the cool thing is, it's kind of not cool on purpose, but the mist has quite a low view distance on it, so it doesn't really start to properly appear until you get this close in. And then it's everywhere. There it is. Our Smilodon cave entrance. Not gonna lie, pretty happy with it. And you go inside, and as I say, it's very boring in here. I'm gonna put some plants in, and I'm gonna kind of just break up the walls a little bit. But you're gonna kind of just follow this along. Eventually, the I believe the custom sounds aren't in the game yet, but I'm gonna do a voiceover of myself, of course, talking nonsense at some point in here. So actually going through, you'll hear it. I might even just record myself going ooh, making spooky noises, but we'll see. You're gonna come around this bend, and then here. Why have I blocked off this left? Oh, because I was going to do it on the right, but I kind of want to... there's no room on the left. I can get rid of that, though. So you're going to come around this bend, and then on both sides, or one side, I'm still thinking about that, we're going to build like a big bulk in the cave, and that's where the Clouded Leopard habitat is going to be. And that's about it, folks. That is about it so far. Look at that spooky son of a gun. I'm really happy with how this is going so far. I'm really enjoying the build. I think the billboards is enough to change my life, you know. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I will see you lovely folks in that next episode. Later on in this coming week, we'll build the Clouded Leopard habitat. Thank you for joining me. Cheers, much love as always. If you do enjoy this series so far, please do hit the like button down below. I'll see you lovely folks then. Cheers, much love as always. Again, for like the third time. Bye-bye.
Reaching out.